I'm watching a Corianton video wrapping up on the Magic Sandwich. I remember I threw up some words about I think his first response to it. I don't think I saw this one yet though. And I'm reminded of there's a History Channel show about ancient aliens, and they come on and they go, "What if it were true?" And since I don't have any problem with taking the Bible literally in places, what I call the cities, the supernatural powers, the anecdotes that supposedly have been experienced by different people, I don't necessarily feel compelled to see things through the eyes of a physicalist or a materialist. Although that point of view can be compelling because science tends to be rather compelling in terms of consensus reality and what can be repeated. Funny thing about reality, though, is people experience things that can't be repeated. And in some forms of reality, nothing can ever really be repeated. You can't step in the same river twice, but science might like to say, oh, no, we must step in the same river twice, no matter how mythological that may be. So as much as I love thinking about God as an ancient alien, and that could be also, I like looking at things that way, that there were these space travelers and they came to Earth and they made a man out of red dirt, and they said, I know, let's call him Red Dirt. That'll that'll give people something to think about. So there's a lot of cosmic and comic humor going on in the Bible. A lot of puns there for people that are able to see through the words. Many levels and layers. Truth. What is the truth with a capital T? I see that I've kind of cycled around from where I was yesterday, kind of going down, and I think I started involving and sort of losing my spiritual high before I knew that Jim had passed on. And this morning that kind of hit me, grief. I'm not used to grieving too much. Death, I pretty much stay on the side of joy when somebody is released from the physical and gets out of the playground of life, the prison of life. And I know Jim loved life. He's one of the greats. So here's to you, Jim. And where is he now? Well, I see that he has brought me, his spirit has brought me, or perhaps just memories of him have brought me to getting in touch with other people that are still alive, to kind of circle the wagons and appreciate life. So it remains strange to me how life is and how to explain it. Science might someday, I hope it can, explain the physical dynamics of everything from the Big Bang on down to every thought in anybody's head. And if there's faster than light availability to the Akashic record, it can be seen how everything happened and it's all frozen in time. The why of it all, though, it seems to me as though the Hindu view better explains it, just the self at play, hide and seek. And that does not preclude miracles. So somebody like Corey, it seems to me as though he sees through a physicalist, materialist lens, even though he attains to cosmic consciousness, beyond planetary consciousness, and all of that good stuff. He seems to discount miracles, whereas the way I like to look at things, yeah, miracles are fine with me. But how to determine when to take something literally and when to take it not so literally in the ancient text, that can be a really good question. I'm still watching this Corey Anton wrapping up on the Magic Sandwich video, and he mentions love about 7.5 minutes into it. And I was thinking this morning about love. I saw a commercial on TV about a little baby and the reification of love, how in the Hindu view there's Sat Chit Ananda, the being, consciousness, bliss, and how reality as love, and love is all there is. And I was able to kind of key into that and go, yeah, it's all love. except the love kind of gets filtered out into what isn't quite so much love, and then on into hate. And to say hate is some kind of a twisted, distorted manifestation of love kind of got a little too bizarre for my taste. And that's a problem, I think, with trying to get at what is behind everything. That I keep on coming up with the limitations of any word or any theory or any equation to satisfy all of the requirements of a real theory of everything. Describing the physical dynamics of an automobile doesn't say what an automobile might be useful for. And then there's the utility of the useless, as always, that there doesn't have to be a reason. Reason comes after existence in the carving of the uncarved block. Round and round and round I go. Where I stop, even I don't know. Here's a good one. About 10 minutes into Corey's talk, he talks about Adam and Eve. I had just mentioned Adam being the red dirt guy and the Garden of Eden. And to think that there literally was a garden with a tree called the knowledge of good and evil, and the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil that this guy or his wife literally ate, and then he was standing there and she gave it to him. I don't think I'd want to take that quite too literally. On the other hand, Corey also mentioned Terence McKenna, and he mispronounced McKenna as I understand it to be pronounced, which sort of suggests to me something. And it kind of makes me wonder about the miraculous, where I'm willing to accept virgin birth and raising from the dead. I don't have a problem with that, taking those literally. I think back to Alan Watts and Joseph Campbell, two of my favorites, and I would listen very closely to what they said, and neither of them went so far as to deny the potential of the miraculous. That I think they experienced themselves some very inexplicable things, that as much as they were familiar with myth and views and viewing, they didn't go all the way over to the physicalist materialist point of view and hang their hat on that. I guess experiences vary. If somebody has never had a supernatural, paranormal type experience that they know to be true beyond any doubt, then the physicalist, materialist point of view might make perfect sense, and everything else can just be explained away as never having existed. I think for Yogananda, having experienced his guru, Yukteswar, resurrected after Yogananda knew that he'd buried him, that verified, I think, for him that there is life after one drops the physical body. And I like to take that as being a reality, a form of reality from a psychological perspective. Now, Yogananda was delusional. Those things can't happen. And yet, for Terence McKenna, strange things have happened. He talks about them. I think Terence in some ways went overboard, and no doubt I in some ways go overboard. I've been to some of the places that Terence has been at, with the end is near and that kind of stuff. But I think for me it's the parapsychological, the paranormal that science has yet to explain. The reality of that, beyond any mere psychological delusional states. And why they can't be repeated. That they definitely occur, but there seems to be some constraint on their replicability. So I ask myself, what's going on there? And so with me, I find there is the skeptic in me, and there's the hopeful in me. I hope to see Jim again, and whoever might be over there on the other side, and to have a beer with them and go flying in the gliders of their choice. And that's a hope. If somebody said, no, I have to not say that or they'll kill me, I'd be willing to say, all right, I'm not going to say that anymore. Whereas the early Christians apparently were ready to die for what they believed, that something happened there. And the skeptics would say, it's just a bunch of stories. So it boils down to a matter of faith and experience, and it's very interesting. Listening to Corey go on, I'm reminded of the old Behistun inscription and how much reality there may be to the old God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And if what Hosea was saying and what Jesus was saying at the gates of Hades, if that stuff is true, then it's true, and that's just the way it is. That those realities exist. Now, it's possible that there are many realities, many universes with laws of physics that intersect here on Earth, and that's what makes the Earth go round. I'm okay with that. That explains a lot to me. Corey ended his 20-minute talk saying a little bit about how he's not opposed to religion or atheism. But before he ended, he talked a little bit about psychology and religion, and perhaps the origin of religion. And it seems to me that religion probably grew out of people wondering, how should I be? And maybe seeing how, if they were a certain way, socially or even individually, then their external environment behaved a certain way. And so there were superstitions added to their weaving of their story. That, well, gee, if we do the right thing, then the rains come. And if we do the wrong thing, then the rains don't come. So we better do the right thing. And that's not necessarily bad. But there might be something else going on there too, that the early seers, the shamans or shamans, the people that were aware of something else going on, their own inherent God-likeness, if they were in fact able to manipulate elements, make it rain. There are stories to that effect, and there's a bit of a mystery involved. If these avatars were limited by their incarnation, what's going on there? How convoluted would the self of the universe, with a capital S, want to involve itself in this game playing of all these trillions of characters? Sometimes that paradigm, the old Hindu paradigm, satisfies me, and sometimes it's like, nah, that's just too overly simplistic. Or no, if I see the same self looking out of all the eyes, that it's the same eye within, that's bizarre. And that's a wonderful view, and miracles maybe could happen, and then about that time my view will flip. Then I'll go and I'll lose it, and then I'll start seeing things different. So I guess for me it's sort of a kaleidoscopic situation. My views come in and out of focus as I tumble on through the day, getting hung out to dry, and it all comes out in a wash. Involving myself, getting all involved, and then evolving, and then eventually letting it all go, turning off the viewer, saying, well, that was interesting, that was fun. Until next time.